I was in a long-term relationship for 6 years. We got engaged the second year. We were together from 2007 to 2013. The love I felt earlier started fading soon after the engagement. We never did anything special together, and it seemed that all he wanted was a couch, TV, and a beer in his hand. Sex was useless. All efforts to get him moving were futile. Beside that, we did party together. With us was my best friend. The three of us went clubbing together, and usually our night ended at our place where she'd stay the night or called a cab in the early morning hours. We were like sisters. We met in high school, years before I met my fiancé. We always had a good time together. She knew about our relationship problems and listened when I needed advice and encouragement to end it. In return, I helped her as well. She was the quiet, creative type, and her sexual drive was very high. She sought out men's attention and acted on it 5-10. Usually it was playful flirting, kissing or touching, but nothing more. A couple of times she had sex with strangers she met at a bar and regretted it immediately. I encouraged her to be herself and do what feels right. In retrospect, I do recollect that she always had an issue with me getting more attention than her based on looks only. Did I say she was married? She had been with the same man since high school and married him spring 2011. Their relationship had been a total drag for ages. Her husband worked like crazy and never spent enough quality time with her. She said that a baby would patch things up between them. I told her not to. Their child was born a year ago, and I was asked to be his godmother. During the time I felt at my wit's end with my relationship, she said that she'd support me whatever I decided, but felt really sorry that our fun party of 3 evenings would end. How convenient she'd say that now that I know the truth. My ex and I went our separate ways 2013, and that was the best decision I ever made. Last week I got a message from our mutual girlfriend that my best friend had been caught in action with her husband, the Godfather. She added that as this happened, she cannot stay silent anymore about my best friend's other activities. From at least 2010 till the end of our relationship, she had been having sex with my fiancé nearly every time we came home from clubbing, and I had gone to sleep earlier than those two did. Well, didn't. I had no idea, and I'm not a dumb person. I'm perceptive and quick with people, but this just totally came as a shock to me. This was insane. Of course I doubted. My first impression was that the friend who told me obviously had some issues with my best friend. Maybe they had fought or something like that, and she made up this crazy story to tell me. I called my ex first. That's because I felt like I didn't have any feelings for him anymore, so the main point was to get the truth out about my best friend. He denied the whole thing, and I believed him. He said that after our breakup, he's not been in any contact with my friend or her husband because they remind him of us. He confessed his everlasting love to me. It was awkward. I called my best friend. At that point, I still believed that this was a lie. I thought that, okay, maybe she had slept with the Godfather, but the rest was a lie. To my surprise, she admitted. I had no words, and the conversation ended right in there. Later on, I discovered loads more details of this affair, and my ex also admitted everything. She had even calculated that she needs to be at least a year without banging my ex before she can have a baby. Well, at least 9 months to be exact. There was no going back. It was real. So there I was. My relationship with my ex-fiancé was a scam, and especially my friendship with this woman. More like a stranger at this point. It's been said that you should never regret anything in your life. But I did. I lost 6 or more years of my life to people who systematically lied and cheated on me. I felt like a fool. I don't anymore because I feel like this was not my fault and I have nothing to be ashamed of. I just wish I knew what went on in that mind of hers when she decided to act and continue her actions all the way to the point where she probably thought she'd never get caught and carried on her life as usual, calling me for a cup of coffee to chat about her marital problems and to pick on me for not seeing my godson more often. She always had a way to make me feel bad about myself. The girlfriend who revealed all this BS to me said that my best friend had been telling her about the affair for years and that I was never to be told because it would hurt her too much. A part of me is furious of the fact that others knew but didn't tell me. On the other hand, I understand their actions. It's hard to be the middleman. I'm grateful that I found out while I was in a beautiful relationship with my current boyfriend. I'd probably feel a lot worse if I were by myself. The truth is that my ex-fiancé's behavior is all the same to me. The real monster is my friend. She played me good. Maybe some kind of jealousy issues or low self-esteem play a part here. Those are the clues that I should have seen. I hope she can heal herself and make things work with her husband and their baby. I really do. On the other hand, I'm realistic. She's done this for so long that she just cannot quit cheating and betraying people around her. This is a story I thought could happen only in cheap trash novels. Not in real life, and especially not to me. That being said, bad things happen to good people. I am over her, but I fear, how can I let anyone close to me ever again? The next story you will hear will be about how, feeling lonely and unloved in her marriage, one woman made the effort to reach out to her husband and rekindle the passion and intimacy that had been lost. Yep, I cheated. I can't change my mistake, but I just wasn't happy, and I tried and tried to reach out to my husband about it, about how he's always gone, always with his friends, always making everyone else a priority before me, who does a lot for him. Our sex life was complete shit. He'd finish, he'd go to bed, without even saying a word. He wouldn't touch or look at me, which would hurt, a lot. Our communication was down the drain. I'd be trying to tell him that I was upset over something he'd do. Either he'd ditch me for days, or always make excuses to not hang out and even just have a beer with me, just to talk and talk about each other's day. When I'd be upset over something that I wasn't getting and that I longed for, he'd just buy me something nice to shut me up, and he thought that's what I wanted and what truly made me happy, but I could care less about material stuff. I just wanted intimacy and communication again. Our intimacy was just gone. Everything was so lonely. We live in his hometown. Everyone's kind of got their own cliques, so I don't fit in much and have like no friends here. My hometown is 3 hours away, and all my friends are 18. 22 range, so it's exactly easy for me or them to just get on the road whenever we want to hang out. So I basically had no one out here. It was sad. I was so lonely. I not only had no friends here, but also a husband who seemed to have given up on us. Anyway, December of 2015, he had his staff Christmas party, so we went. I got dressed to the 9S in my Miss Me jeans and a beautiful peplum top. I did my makeup perfect, eyelashes on, my hair was all done, back combed and curled. Turns out I kinda overdressed, but whatever. I was so pleased with how I looked. Before we left our house, I asked him how I looked. He said, "Nice, dear." I was expecting a, "Wow, babe, you look amazing," and we'd fuck. But nope. Instead, he asked me to give him a hand job on the way there. So while he drove, that's what I did. But that just made me feel cheap. He had to pull over to clean up anyway. We could have had sex quick. But whatever, that's besides the point. We got there, we were the last ones there, so obviously people stared and it kinda made me feel good. I just thought maybe someone in this room thinks I'm beautiful, and can see I put so much effort into how I look tonight. It was a good turnout, had some beers, got to know some of the girlfriends, and got to talk with some of Alex's buddies and GFs who we already knew. It was good, everything was good. And I got so much compliments on how I looked. I was so jolly. Even though I was way overdressed, I felt like $1,000,000, and I wanted my husband to feel proud that all these people thought I was gorgeous, beautiful, pretty. He didn't care. Anyway, we went out for a smoke and more compliments kept coming. I was just so happy. I've never heard that many compliments in one night. Then one guy's compliment stood out from the rest. He said, "Wow, it's amazing that you're with him when you can literally have any guy you want. He's lucky." At first I thought, creepy guy, but then I was like, thank you. And my husband went inside and I was finishing my cigarette. This guy started saying I was gorgeous and had the most perfect body, and he wished I was his wife. I wasn't creeped out, any good wife would have been, but I was just eating it all up. Never have I got so much compliments like that. I felt beautiful for once and like I stood out. So we go inside. I'm sitting alone because my husband's having a good time with his coworkers and friends. So I don't want to be that wife who butts in and ruins the fun. So I just sat alone, talking to people who walked by or who were sitting across the table. Then the guy from outside comes and pulls up a chair beside me. We start talking and we just clicked. He was really decent looking too, which I don't look at, but it was hard not to acknowledge it. 6'2", blue eyes, blonde hair, nice build. One of those city-looking guys, ball cap, nice clothes. Smells good and whatnot. Overall, a decent-looking guy. Turns out he was 30. I'm 20. Yes, I got married young. But by the time I was 16, I was living like I was 30. Been through some shit in my life, and my husband actual saved me. I didn't have to work, provide for my younger sisters anymore. My mom sobered up, and just overall, when my husband came into my life, everything changed. It was awesome, why I love him so much. But anyways, we continued talking. It was a good chat. But 12:30 came along, and it was actually time for me to go home. I was very drunk too, so it was about that time to call her quits. My husband was having such a good time that I didn't want to bug him, and he hardly noticed me, so I just decided to go. Didn't want to be that wife. So I went out for a smoke to make a call to my mother-in-law to come pick me up. Then this guy comes out and actually offers me a ride, so I take him up on his offer so I don't gotta bug my dear old mother-in-law. So we're driving to my house, and I told him he could come in and we could have a beer and play some zombies until my husband gets home, and we can all just hang out and drink beer until we pass out. You know, just a chill night. Whatever. Halfway home, all I can think of is getting in some comfy clothes, cracking a beer, and start a game of transit. Then he asks me, "So what makes you stay with him?" Then I basically blew up. I basically cried to this guy, telling him how unhappy I am and how our sex isn't the same. He doesn't talk or hang out with me and all that. Then he told me that we should just hang out and drive around for a while longer, so I agreed. He tried kissing me. His lips touched mine, but I shoved him away so fast, then told him I had to go home because my husband would probably be worried about me. Then he asked me to check my phone to see he's even tried asking where I was. Sure enough, no text. It hurt my feelings for a sec, but then I thought, well, he's with his friends, having a good time. So whatever. We parked on a back road just listening to music and talking about random things. It was going goodbye, and we got alongside on, well, he was sweet and he listened to me, which I didn't get from my own husband. He tried kissing me again, and I began to tell him I loved my husband, and no matter how bad he treats me or how bad I think our marriage is, I couldn't do that. He backed off, but come 3 a.m. still no text or call from him. I began to believe he really didn't care, so I decided to stay out longer, 'cause why go home if you're just gonna be alone when I have someone to talk to right now? So another hour passed, still no text or call, so we talked still, just hanging out. Then he tried kissing me, lie magnets, our faces collided. I had to stop, and I had instant tears. I couldn't do it. I love my husband. Then I looked at my phone, hoping he'd just text or call, but nothing. Then this guy just tells me that if he cared, he'd be texting me worried. So, whatever. A few minutes pass by as I rant about how he's not worried. He kisses me, I kiss him back, and our what seemed to be an hour makeout session turned very aggressive and hot. He felt every inch of my body, and his hands were perfect around my waist, which felt good when he squeezed as he looked up and down my body, saying how sexy I was. I felt so beautiful. We made out longer, and he laid me down, but our faces didn't detach, like our lips were stuck together. He pulled my pants off and felt up and down my legs. Everything else comes off, his pants are gone, everything's gone. He climbs on top of me and does everything to make me feel good. He did everything to get me off first, which I've never actually had someone so before. It felt great. We both finished, both out of breath, smirking at each other. I light a smoke, have a quick smoke. He's staring at me legit the whole time, his eyes are stuck on me. We began to kiss again. He laid me down gently again, and climbs back on top of me, the second time just as great as the first. We finished, got dressed, then that's when the guilt really sunk in. By this time it was 9 a.m., so I tell him it's time for me to go, but he wants to talk more, so we do, and he lets me know that if whatever happens when I get home results in me needing a ride, money, or anything at all, I just have to call him, 'cause what happened is also his fault too, and he wasn't just gonna dump me off and ignore me if I needed something. So anyway, I get to the end of my driveway. Then I see a big black Ford 3/4-ton with a white cowboy hat speeding down the road. My husband. I jump out of this guy's truck. My husband gets out of his yelling at this guy. The guy drives off, my husband speeds after him. So I walk up to our house, made it to the deck stairs, and my husband pulls up beside me and tells me to get in. I do, and all I said was, "We had sex." I wasn't gonna lie, and I didn't cry either. What I did was wrong. I know that. Just because my reasons seem valid to an unhappy marriage doesn't mean I need to go out and sleep with the first guy who gives me what I've longed for so long. I took the name calling, the yellin'. I deserved it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hit me. He's had to do it once. He didn't hit me, all he did was tell and get angry. I didn't try tell K, 'cause I know if he did that to me, I'd be just as mad. So I sat back and took it. He then asked me why, and I told him how I felt, and he said, "Why didn't you try telling me this instead of fucking another guy?" The thing is, I've tried so many times. He's buy me something nice to shut me up, but he didn't realize that's not what made me happy. We talked more about it after he let off some steam. He now understands me. It's sad that I had to go out and be a fucking whore for him to realize. But then again, those weren't my intentions. Everything is much better, though. He doesn't ignore me. Our sex is great. We communicate. He told me that I'm his world, and that he loves me with everything he's got. And that he's not gonna lose me over this hump in the road. I would have left my ass if I was him. Anyone would. Emirate? Things are the way I wanted them to be now. We're happy again. I'm still feeling guilty. I'll never forgive myself, but it's something to work at. I hope this helps some of you. It's unfortunate that I did that, but if I didn't, he wouldn't have realized all of the stuff I felt for so long. It's sad. But life goes on and I can't change my past, just better our future.